to Miss Martin Muses and Pub Crawl. It is a pub crawl tonight, night 2. We are now into the 6th hour of our pub crawl, so that means we have had a minimum of 6 alcoholic drinks, allegedly, and it is now getting to the midnight hour, and it is none other than Dmajini. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses.
Hello, how you doing? Hello.
Hello,
Welcome, chat. How is everybody out there?
Yeah, it's a good evening. We just got done with a big old thunderstorm. Well, we do have in the chat already. We have Biggles Mets. Hello, Biggles.
What's up, Biggles?
Biggles is still thinking it's Christmas time. And it's Steve Kenobi. Hello, Teresa and Dmajini. I hope both of you are well today. Well, I am relatively well, and Dmajini got lots of stuff going on. It's always Christmas time, he says. Oh, okay, fine.
Well, if you're getting presents every day, then it is Christmas time every day. How about that?
That is true. Hello, Baldo T. Good to see you. It's been and Tommy is here and giving roses, humans. Yes, we love our animals here at Miss Martin Muses. And I'm excited. Actually, I think I've streamed with you before, but this is the first time you have been on my channel, and I'm so excited. We were talking a little bit backstage about motorcycles and all of the fun stuff that comes along with that up in the world.
Yeah, motorcycles are fun. They are to be respected. I'm not one of those people that stunt, so I just get on a bike and I enjoy riding. I purposely like going to get lost. Like I'll go and one of my favorite rides I've done was I went up to upstate New York, which was fun. That was like about a 6-hour ride. I've been to on the other side of Pennsylvania and rode the Delaware Gap. That's pretty cool too. Over in New Hope. So yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah.
Dang, that's wild. That's fun. And I was also saying the only riding I do is I have like a little red mountain bike kind of thing that I ride around my neighborhood. I like to do bike rides like that. But I've been on a motorcycle once in my life and I was terrified.
So I got my bike when I was 37 and I didn't tell my mom. I was a grown man living. I left home when I was 17, but I was still like I kind of was like I was talking to my mom and I was like, yeah, I'm coming over with some pancakes and blah blah blah. Oh, by the way, I got a bike. She's like, what? What was that last part? I said, I got a bike. So you don't need no bike. I said, yes, I know I didn't need a bike, but I wanted one. See, that's the catch-22 to that. I wanted a bike. But yeah, so what really got me into riding motorcycles was, by the way, this isn't going to be the topic. I'm just talking about this now.
Yeah, that's cool.
My uncle, my mother's older brother, he's a biker. He's always rode motorcycles. So all of my cousins rode motorcycles because my uncle's kids, they all rode motorcycles. But that really wasn't what really captivated me. What captivated me in wanting to ride a motorcycle, aside from the obvious, you're hanging out with your cousins. But I remember when I was probably about, I'm going to say maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6. And, I grew up in Brooklyn. So my uncle lived in Brooklyn also. And he was like, want to go for a ride? So he had another little helmet for me, put the helmet on. And I sat on his tank and I held onto the tank and I was too small to, ride behind. So I was holding onto the tank. And one of my fondest memories was riding over the Brooklyn Bridge as the sun was setting and you saw the sun going down behind the Statue of Liberty. And that's like something that burned into my head all the way till now. You know what I'm saying? So I always enjoyed that. So, yeah, I'm going to be, so one of the things I do when I do ride is I do take my GoPro and I film as I ride, which you can check out on my hyperspace runs, which are for members now. I made those member exclusive on my channel. So if you want to get the hyperspace runs, I do those probably once a month for the members. And I have my hyperspace hangouts where I ride my bike to a random location and I just do a live stream walking around. The last one I did, I went to Point Pleasant Beach and I walked around, and we just had a conversation walking around the beach. Um, but yeah, that was one of my fondest memories growing up. Was that?
That just sounds amazing. I just can't even imagine how gorgeous that is.
Yeah, it was very definitely it was a beautiful thing. And that was back when the Brooklyn Bridge, which by the way now, if you go on the Brooklyn Bridge, they literally took away two of the lanes going to Manhattan and turned them into a bike lane.
Hmm.
So we only have two. It used to be three lanes that went across on either side of the Brooklyn Bridge. So now, if you're going towards Manhattan from Brooklyn, it's now one of the lanes is now a full on. It's like it's not even like they just made a lane. They actually put a concrete divider up on a road so that now bikers can ride on it. Like bicyclists, not motorcyclists, bicyclists. I'm like, y'all literally killed the whole car lane for bicycles. There's
Oh,
literally a walkway on top of the Brooklyn Bridge. Like, there's a walkway up there. What are we doing here? But they did it. That's what they did. It really annoys me.
that is annoying, and I say that as someone who does like to occasionally ride a bike out and about, but to do that on the Brooklyn Bridge, that's insane. At first, when you said bikes, I was thinking that it was for motorcyclists, and that was weird. Yeah, because bikes, it's acceptable, especially in America. Yeah, we ride our bikes on sidewalks and on walkways, and it's kind of like we share it. So, oh, that's
Mhm.
ridiculous.
Yeah, they
So,
literally did that. What we got going on in the chat there? I
yeah,
bought a
yeah,
motorbike because I was too tired to ride a regular
yeah.
bike.
You know, he had to bring a pun.
I I have a bike though. Like, so what I did with my regular bike is I have the stand inside my apartment. So it's dual purpose now, so I could ride in the apartment and I
Hmm.
ride outside. I've been mostly riding inside because it's just a lot easier just to do my cardio on a bike and then just go straight to working out, which I
Hmm.
like that better. Um, Even though I really got to get back into like going, like one of my things I used to do was ride my bike to the high school, which is not far away from my apartment, which is probably about a mile away. So I ride
Hmm.
my bike a mile, then ride to the high school, run the track for about a mile or two, and then ride back. That was great. I was a lot lighter then. I was a lot lighter.
Hey, well, you know what? I've seen what you do with those weights. I've seen, or at least when you're about ready to. So there's just because you're not necessarily lighter, that doesn't mean you don't have the muscle and stuff.
I mean, I have the muscles, but I mean, as I've gotten older, it's kind of hard to get rid of the stomach. Obviously, I know we all know that when you get older, it's like this. I never was the type to have a six pack,
Hmm.
but like when I look at my older pictures, I like you don't realize it when you're doing it, right?
Uh-huh.
That when you look back on an older picture, I was like, damn, I look good back then. I was like, I
I
was
know
like,
what you mean. I was looking at one of my prom picture in my college and in your 20s. You don't know how good you have it.
yeah, I was like, holy smokes. I was like, I was a smoke show back then. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, but hey, that's one of the hazards of getting older. But on the other hand, we're also not as stupid as we were when we were younger.
This is true. This is true. I've done my fair share of stupidity as a kid. But that's
Yeah.
all part. I mean, even though I tried to keep it relatively confined that I didn't have to get into major trouble.
Yeah.
That's how you have to do it. That's how you have to do it.
Yeah. You can't.
So, did you see what was going on? Because I'm actually giving a spoiler away, but I have a video coming up, actually a short,
Mhm.
that I saw floating around on Twitter. And I know Twitter's a cesspool, but hey, it's fun. It's great for content farming. Um, they have somehow, in the smoothness of all smooth brains, decided that going back and looking at Judy Garland's unfortunate blackface, and they like trying to cancel her now. I'm like, you do understand the woman passed away 54 years ago. Like,
Uh,
what,
yeah.
what are you guys trying to accomplish with that? I'm like, if you want to go that far and doing deep cuts, There's a whole lot of people alive right now. Number 47. Sorry, 46. Sorry. I'm about to say so. Yeah, 40. Was it 46 or 47? I
I
can't
don't.
remember. I lose track. The sleepy guy. The sleepy
Oh
guy
yeah,
who's in
he's
charge right
47.
now.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
The
He
racist.
has a problematic past too, considering that his one of his best friends was a a recruiter for a certain hooded people posse.
Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, yes. Yeah, and they gave him a complete pass. It's like, yeah, you want to talk about quote unquote problematic. Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that because, I mean, you can't get any more canceled than dead, right? I mean, Judy Garland, may she rest in peace for crying out loud. And, when you look at the context of it was, well, it was the 1930s, and hate to say it, but everyone was racist, okay, just about. And she was also a kid. I mean, and I know what you're saying, that there's a lot more.
A lot more recent things to be worried about. On
I,
top of the fact, the real cherry on the top, which is surprisingly, a lot of people did come to her defense. She was a child actress
mhm.
in the 30s, and she
Yeah,
was a woman. Did you think she had much say back then? I'm
no,
just saying. I
she
mean,
didn't have anything.
much like some of my ancestors, I should say. There was not much they had to much of say back then.
Mhm. No, precisely.
Mm.
And I know sometimes it's not politically correct to say, because sometimes some of it, I'm thinking more, with women, that because some of it's gone so overboard, we sometimes do forget, hey, there really was true sexism, and there really was true discrimination based on race.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, those were bad days, and yeah, women did not have autonomy. I don't know, just a lot of people don't have it in their heads that. I'm talking about women because I'm a woman. You weren't allowed to go to some universities. You were actually banned from certain professions just because you were a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And by law, it wasn't just something like, oh, women were never hired like that. And especially Judy Garland, because God bless her, they were also pumping her with all sorts of diet pills and all that because they thought
Yes,
she was fat.
that's what was her demise, because she was, which what I was reading about is that it was her mother. She's smoking like 80 cigarettes a day,
Hmm.
on constant like amphetamines and stuff, because she wanted her to keep her weight down.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, this is coming from her mom that was doing this to her. So this is what I'm saying. While I'm not making an excuse for that type
Hmm.
of performance, because it wasn't a good thing,
No.
but I'm just like, where was her power at then? Like,
Yeah.
that she didn't have the power that she would have had now. This is what drives me crazy. Where you hear all these people in Hollywood now acting like they're trailblazing and stuff, when the trail was blazed decades ago.
Hmm.
You're not doing anything new. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And oh, I, again, this is an overused phrase in preps. It's a little annoying because it's misused, but there is truth to the phrase. Now that you know better, you do better.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, I just don't know. It was just out of the blue about Judy Garland too, because it's like, it's like you said, of all things, and you did say that you've got a video upcoming on it.
Yeah, that'll be posted tomorrow. It'll
Posted
actually be a
tomorrow.
short. So yeah.
A short. Okay, yeah, and I do know we have put your link in the chat if people aren't done it. And I know I got busted by you. Really, I will watch it. I do watch your stuff. I just I remember when you were in
Don't
Florida.
try to clean it up now, Miss Martin.
No, I do. Hey, without prompting, I told you about the weightlifting stuff, and because I'm impressed, because I do follow. I also have an exercise regimen, but I can't lift weights because I'm a musician and I have overuse syndrome in my upper arms. But I
Mhm.
do a lot of Pilates and stuff, and you know how you do weird things with your legs and lift your body up in the air. It's kind of like yoga, but not really yoga. And
Gotcha.
yeah, we all do that good stuff. But yeah, no, but I'm really interested definitely in seeing it. Yeah, there's oh yeah, they're all talking about the heat. Yeah, I don't. I don't know where you are if it's as bad as it is down here in the South, but oh my gosh, it's been like 106 degrees. It's insane.
So it's actually cooling down up here because we get the winter a little before you, so it's starting to cool down. Like today was like fantastic.
Hmm.
Only like I mean I was gonna go riding, but I figured I washed my bike instead since I know I want to do a ride tomorrow,
Hmm.
and so I just I did my workout, did some filming, and yeah,
Cool.
so
Well, cool.
I tell you what though, what also been popping off thanks to Twitter is we got that Rebel Moon trailer that just dropped too. Did you see that?
I didn't see the trailer, but I saw the poster for it. That's a Zack
It dropped
Snyder's.
today. Yeah,
Oh,
it actually. I gotta do it for you. Hold on. Doesn't look bad.
oh,
Doesn't
oh,
look
okay.
bad. I'm just saying.
I love that. Well, not all new entertainment is bad. I mean, there's been a lot of really good stuff coming out lately. It's just some of the maybe the bigger franchises haven't been doing so good.
Mhm.
So Rebel Moon, it's do you know what it's about? Well, obviously you saw the trailer and stuff. See, I just
Well,
saw the yeah.
Rebel Moon is supposed to be Zack Snyder's refused Star Wars movie. So this is what he was supposed to be using. Allegedly, was his script for Star Wars, and Disney turned it down because they said I guess it was a little too dark. Which I'm like, Star Wars is not supposed. Look. I get it. See, one of the flaws, and I'm segueing a little bit,
That's
but
okay.
one of the flaws with how Disney has handled Star Wars was they bought a boys IP. Yes, girls watch Star Wars. But it was mostly boys, right?
Hmm.
Who was into Star Wars. You bought that IP because you had the girls market on lock. You have you got Disney World. You got all the Disney princesses. Why
Mm,
do you need to make your plan should have been to corner the boy market.
darn right.
As soon as you get Star Wars, you want to turn it to a girl market. That's not what Star Wars is. Now, what Star Wars is a family thing. It's not
Hmm.
a kid thing. It's not a girl thing. It's not a boy thing. It really is, especially if you're going to buy the first three, four, five, and six. It's a family movie for the
Hmm.
most part. It's not like it was just dumbed down for kids, and it's
Nope.
not like it was too gory for adults. You know what I'm saying? It was right in the middle. But by
Yeah.
them leaning Star Wars towards just females, I mean, look at. I'm not even watching Ahsoka right now. And I know a lot of
Oh
people
hell
watching
no.
that right now because it's on and that's just popping right now. I refuse to watch it. I'm going to watch Lethal Lightnings. I mean Lethal. Sorry, Raging Rhinos. I said Lethal Lightning because I'm going to be on the full Aussie this weekend also. So make sure you tune in for that.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
uh, I'm going to watch his reviews of it, and that's how I usually learn about that stuff.
Uh-huh.
Correct. Star Wars should appeal to everything. That's what made Star Wars great.
Hmm.
It
And that's
was
how we all got into it.
yes. That's and again, that's how you had the ladies who were into Star Wars. It's the same thing. Listen, everything that Hollywood is doing right now, right,
Hmm.
is antithetical to what it needs to be. Because when if you have comic book movies, yes, comic books, I should say, were mostly boys. It's the same thing as Star Wars. It
Hmm.
wasn't that guys were keeping girls out of them, because that'd be the first thing people say. Oh, comics was inherently sexist because they didn't want women there. I'm like, are you kidding me? If I had any of the girls that I had a crush on in junior high school and high school that liked Star Wars and Marvel comics and Spider Man, you think I would tell her to go away? I'd be like, come on over here, baby, let's read some comics.
Yeah, I was
Like
gonna say that.
nobody does that.
Like I said, I can tell you as a woman, a girl in her teen years, that was the best way to get a boyfriend. I mean, you get away with several phone numbers because they were like, "Oh my gosh, there's a girl that likes Star Wars." That's how my sister found her husband. He was like, "Oh my gosh,
Mhm.
there's a girl loves Star Wars and comics or superheroes," and he nabbed her. And his coworkers are still jealous of him 30 years on. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Um, and the thing is that women are inherently drawn to something like Barbies. I That's partly why this phenomenon of this Barbie movie. I mean, because it- Barbies were everything to me. And like I did play with the Star Wars toys, but I brought the Star Wars toys often into my Barbie world. And I loved Belle. And as you said, the Disney princesses. And even to this day, I just love Belle and the princesses and Sleeping Beauty. And I got Belle's autograph at Disney World, actually with Puddin' We were there together. And yeah, Puddin' I got in the Star Wars toys. And what you said also about it being too dark, holy crap, in A New Hope, Princess Leia was getting tortured by Darth Vader, and The Empire Strikes Back, Luke gets his hand chopped off. It wasn't coddling people, as you said.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned Barbie. It's crazy to believe Barbie hit $1 billion.
Yeah.
But
Well,
honestly, to be fair, this is one of the things that I said about that movie. The thing that a lot of people, even myself, I fail to really acknowledge is that, Barbie is one of the OG feminist icons, and this is
mm,
what a lot of people forget. Like if they sit there and they say, "Oh, Barbie might have," which it did have a little bit of the Hollywood message in it for the most part, but I'm like, what did you expect? I mean, that's the same thing when they're talking about like Blue Beetle. They say, "Oh, it had the message in there, the message, the Hollywood message." Yes, it does. What did you expect? See, now when I go to
mhm.
movies now, I know going in some form or fashion, not unless it's from Tom Cruise or Christopher Nolan, some of these old OG guys who you probably sure might not be putting that stuff in there. Even Steven Spielberg kind of folded with his the rehashing of, what was that, a Bronx Tale, I think it was, he did.
Oh,
Um
the West Side Story.
West Side Story, yeah.
Oh, that was
So
horrible.
so
Horrible.
if you're not going to see movies like that, by those people, you should expect that it's going to have Hollywood messaging in it. So what I do now, I go in because listen, I can't I can't be upset with anything worse than I was upset with Star Wars. I'm now
Yeah.
numb to Hollywood, okay? What they
Yeah.
did to Star Wars has made me completely numb to all of it. So when I go to a movie, and even if it does have the agenda-based Hollywood messaging in it, I'm like, I know it's gonna be in there. So what else are you showing me? That's why I
Mhm.
said, in reality, I didn't think Blue Beetle was a bad movie. And I think what's really hurt in that movie is the fact that the morons over there in DC said they were wiping this universe away and starting James Gunn's universe. And
Mhm.
on top of the fact, nobody knows who Blue Beetle is. That's the problem.
Yeah.
He's not an iconic superhero. What
Yeah.
they should have done what they should have done is a couple things. They should have just done, actually, a few things. Now that I think about it, they could have done one of these few things. The main thing is hire James Gunn and don't say anything about James Gunn wiping the universe. Just say,
Mhm.
"Hey, we hired James Gunn. He's going to be making things going forward." That's what you say, right? You let your movies that's already on the slate come out. Boom. The other thing they could have done, which I know they didn't know this at the time because nobody knew this at the time, but Barbie has set the bar of how I believe all Hollywood should do their movies now. Shut up about the Hollywood message and just put it out. Even if
Mhm.
it has it in there, right? Same
Mhm.
thing like I said, I'm expecting it to have it in there. So even if it has it in there, right?
Mhm.
You don't put that foremost at the forefront of your advertising, and you will get more of an audience,
Yeah. No,
right?
I agree
Because
with you.
yeah. So if they would just shut up about what turned a lot of people off is that Batman is a fascist thing, right? And then of course the I believe the director's like, "Oh, we're making a movie for Latinos and stuff like that." That's cool. Just say you're putting a movie out. Because guess
Mhm.
what? There's a thing people forget. When they put out, I'm gonna say, I don't know, Batman '89, that was my definitive first movie Batman. That's like the biggest. I mean,
Mhm.
I know we had Christopher Reeve, and he's always been my goat. But when you talk about DC movies that really made it a cultural
Oh,
landmark,
it was
Batman
huge.
'89 was I mean, there was bat everything everywhere when that movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
When they put that movie out, did they say, "Oh, we're making a movie for white people"?
No.
No, they don't say that. Why would you say, "I'll make a movie for Latino people"? Just put the movie out. When they put Barbie out, did they say we're making a movie for girls? No, they just said they're putting Barbie out. You know what? Barbie is legitimately for girls, but you didn't have to say it. You
Yeah.
don't have to say it because why? Everybody knows what Barbie is.
It
And it's,
precisely.
yeah.
And I will say this because I've already talked about the stuff I didn't like in Barbie, some of the messaging, but a lot of it was really actually good, and it was also aesthetically, it was
Oh,
beautiful.
absolutely. It was beautiful. And listen, and I went to see the movie because the Dark Council chat paid for me to go. So that was the reason I went to see it. But to be fair, I mean, put a little toxic. Let me hold on. Let me do this for you.
You can be as
I'm gonna
toxic as you
put
like.
my toxic hat on for you real quick. Okay. Um, Margot Robbie is good eye candy. I could watch her for a while. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, and I'll
I'm
tell you
just
this,
saying.
and this is the thing about Barbie too. I'll tell you, I was watching it with my sister, and the whole thing was we were thinking, oh my gosh, I want to get those shoes. Oh my gosh, I want to get those clothes. Because that's what women see when we see Barbie. And we even with
Mhm.
Margot Robbie, I was like, oh my gosh, I love her hair.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
she was Margot Robbie's a smoke show anyway. But um, what I was gonna say now, oh, the third thing they could do with Blue Beetle is, which obviously this is nothing they can do now because they already had the movie out, but Blue Beetle should have been introduced with a iconic hero first. Similar
Mm-hmm.
to what they did with like Cyborg. Even though I'm not a big Cyborg fan, they just put him in. They didn't really give him his own movie, even though I believe the Flash was supposed to have him be with him. I heard that was rumors of that, but you know, I didn't go see the Ezra Miller Flash anyway. But somebody like the Flash, Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, those four be given a single or an Aquaman. Aquaman did pretty well too.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, just think about all of the iconic Justice League heroes can lead. You know, they can pave the way for somebody else, right?
Darn right.
So Blue Beetle should have been in one of those four movies first.
Mm-hmm.
Introduce him then, and then here's the other thing. There's a little side note to that. The origin story formula has to stop because we are what are we in?
Origined out.
We are probably like we're almost 15 years deep in superhero comic book movies at this point. The origin story, you have to play that loose and fast now. Nobody needs a whole explanation of how, oh, I just got my powers. I'm reluctant being a hero, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I got a call to action. Now to fight somebody. Yay. That
Yeah.
formula needs to stop. Again, I'll bring it back to Batman 89. I made this point in my live stream. You go back to Batman 89, that wasn't an origin story. He was already Batman. What the origin
Mm-hmm.
story of that movie really was the Joker's origin story. When you think about it, that was really the
Yeah.
Joker's origin story. Um, so, and if they would have did something like that, and then you have your there should be a Super Friends. Yes, there should be a Super Friends movie. Um, that's what they should do with these, especially these comic book movies going forward, because it's
Yeah.
just ridiculous with the same formulaic process with these superhero movies. That was one of the again, I didn't mind the movie. It was very derivative as far as it being very formulaic, and the fact that nobody knows who Blue Beetle is. And yes, they had a bit of the messaging in it, but again, I said I ignored that because I knew going in they're gonna have that. That's just the way. If you're going to the movies now, and I know a lot of people aren't going to the movies. To be fair, I'd much rather spend most of my time watching anime. That's what I like more than doing anything else, and playing my Final Fantasy. I love doing that. That's usually what I do for my escapism, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're gonna go to the movies, again, if you're not going to see a Tom Cruise or a Christopher Nolan or a Scorsese film, somebody you know who's not gonna necessarily be putting the Hollywood message in it, it's gonna have the Hollywood message in it.
Yeah.
Just no going in to have that, and just put that to the side and try to see what else the film is showing. That's what you got to do now. I mean, if you're gonna go to the movies, that's literally what you're gonna have to do. I mean, for instance, I went to see Mario. Mario Brothers didn't have any of that, and
Yeah.
that's because Mario Brothers is really a Japanese product. So it's in the same vein of a manga, honest, or anime, I should say.
Yeah. Well, and I think that because it's so on the nose and maybe because of social media, we're so saturated with it. But there's been a lot of like that quote unquote Hollywood messaging, even back in the 80s. A lot of women's entertainment, a lot of soap operas. It would be in there. It was there.
Yeah.
It's just it just wasn't always everything. And I think that that's the difference. And it, it it as long as there's a place for, entertainment, I still think though for the most part, some of this heavy-handed messaging is kind of starting to fade a little bit into the background,
It
in my
is.
humble
It is a
opinion.
little bit. I can see it is, and what's really helping a lot right now is, of course, the self-inflicted wound that they call the strike,
Oh yeah.
because honestly, that honestly is a true self-inflicted wound for them, because when you think about it, nobody cares. I said this.
Yeah.
I said this before. Nobody cares about people who are making millions. And I know not everybody in Hollywood makes millions, but guess what? Even if you are a quote unquote starving artist, guess what you did? You signed up for that.
Yeah. No, I get
You
you.
could you could just as easily be working at Walmart and making a amount of money. All right, I know people who are managers who make six figures working at Walmart. Trust me, you
Oh
can
yeah.
make good money working at Walmart. So don't people like, oh, Walmart is a retail job. There's people who drive now with luxury cars working at Walmart.
Yeah, if you
Don't get
get
it twisted.
yeah.
Sure, the rank and file might not be, but we're not talking about that. I'm saying if you're doing a career, which being an actress or an actor is a career, if you're going into that career and you're expecting to be a millionaire overnight,
It's not
you
going to
played
happen.
yourself, because that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, speaking
Listen,
of playing yourself, I think that this is what everything you've been saying has really been brought to the forefront with what happened with Rachel Zegler and the Snow White
yes,
thing. It's like if she had just sat and plotted out how to become a symbol of everything that you just said that's wrong with some of these Hollywood people and why it's dying in self-inflicted wounds, every single inch of it. And I don't think they're going to recover. And I don't even know if they should recover because I think the world's moved on. I don't know. I don't know. Or look back, at better other things that there are out there for people to watch.
mm-hmm.
But but yeah, I mean, you're right that they've chosen it, and most actors that even make money, they're lucky if they can get into like commercials. That's how a lot of them make money. Yeah. So I
I was just reading the chat just now. I just seen that
oh
Tommy
sure.
said Barbie is a recognized brand. If it was Bratz or some other doll lines, it would have done as well. That is correct.
Mhm.
That is correct, because Barbie's been around for what, since the 60s or 50s? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
it came around, I think, I believe in the 1950s. Oh yeah, I mean it's huge, and it was feminism. And when I say feminism, it's like good feminism. Like feminism
Yes,
wasn't always bad.
Barbie was like I said, she was one of your OG, like, old school feminist, because Barbie could be everything, and
Hmm.
nobody said anything about it. She could be an astronaut, a doctor, a lawyer. She could be beach Barbie. She could do whatever she want, because that's what true feminism should have been. Like,
And
being
that's
able
what
to
it
be on the
started off
same,
as.
yeah, being on the same playing field and being able to do what you want. But the thing is now, it's just more of it became a us versus them thing. Which again, the problem is, this is one of my biggest problems I see on both sides. When you got like your manosphere and then you have your feminism side. The problem is that, and I'm going to say this. Let me get on camera for me to say this to everybody. I
Okay.
want to look you guys in the eye. Okay. The problem is, okay, we are a symbiotic circle. Male and female are supposed to come together and become one solid individual, almost like a fusion for my Dragon
Hmm.
Ball Z fans. That's what a male and female is supposed to be. So
Hmm.
it shouldn't be a dominance on either side. Sure, there should be a head, but there should also be a heart. your heart, and if your brain isn't working and your heart isn't working, you die. So a man and a female should be like the brain and the heart together. That's how it should be.
Yeah, we
So
complement each other. We're not in
correct,
competition.
correct, and that is the biggest flaw with what I'm seeing on both sides. When you
Hmm.
see like the manosphere stuff and you're seeing the feminism stuff on both sides is dumb. You know,
And they're not happy. People that
no,
try to
nobody's
like
freaking
women that
happy.
try to act like men aren't happy, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. It's bad, and it sucks for the young people out there dating now because like I see like I'm watching like the shows like whatever, and like I saw Fresh and Fit got demonetized totally. So it's like this whole thing, that whole side of the internet is just it just seems like organized chaos to me. That's what it just
Hmm.
seems like. It just seems like a whole bunch of organized chaos.
Yeah. Well,
Uh, Time you
I
said it was
feel like
19,
I'm
was that 1959? You're saying Barbie came
59.
out?
Yeah, yeah, that was
Okay.
the exact date. So I had the right decade, but yeah, 1959. That sounds about right. And
Mhm.
and it was radical, the idea that women could be all of those different things, because the acceptable, what it was acceptable for women to be secretaries, for women to be nurses and teachers, and but
Mhm.
beyond that, yeah. So it really was a positive message, and it got hijacked. I mean, the late 60s, early 70s. That's when it became about uh, like what you were saying. It's like man versus woman rather than the the head and the heart working together. I love the way you said that, because it's true. I know it's not popular to say that, but I'll be the first person to say it as a woman. I'm very emotional. And what does the man do? The man balances that. If
Mhm.
well, if he's, you know, a man.
Yeah. Well, let's not get on the lines this bird with that one.
Yeah.
We want you to
Speak,
keep your channel.
yeah, speaking of demonetization, I mean, what is it? It's only been a few months. It's only been a month, so yeah. Well, so far I've had a lot of guests, and so far I haven't gotten in trouble. But no, everything you oh gosh, that just really touched my heart. And again, everything you were saying about the self-inflicted wounds of Hollywood. I mean, it's like this happened to me in D&D, where I did a critical hit against myself, and it was like, and I got crippled. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. Everyone's going to have broken legs, and I don't know. I don't know at all.
What did you say?
Um,
You said you got crippled in D&D. Is that what you said?
oh, not quite. I was able to get healed with like a potion thing. Yeah, because I rolled. I'm notorious for friendly fire in in the D&D group I'm in.
I've never played that.
Oh, it's fun. And so,
You
I killed
you're the
I
second
got
person that
I
said that. Mary Mayhem has been trying to get me to play that too.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, so I hit Mara, I've hit Nina, I've hit Alora, and then I hit myself. And so
Mhm.
I got a critical hit against myself. But that's what Hollywood's doing right now. They're
Oh,
doing a critical
absolutely.
hit. Oh my gosh. Oh, well, thank you for the $2 super chat. It's Dmajini. Thanks for having me on, and like that smash button. Well, thank you, Dmajini. I'm so happy you're on here. And if you do get into D&D, you will love it.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I love Final Fantasy 14, because it just reminds me of the adventurer, because that's basically what you start out as. You start out as a regular adventurer, and then you end up becoming the savior of the world. This your typical anime slash manga story trope, and
Mhm.
it's basically like you go out there, you do your fetch quest, you do your fighting, you do your dungeon. Right now, so in between the patches, you're just basically leveling up. So once you get to
Uh-huh.
the next patch, so the new patch is coming out next year, which is so. Oh, speaking of new patches, so this is something I wanted to talk about. So in the chat, has anybody heard any yay or nay that they're making a PlayStation 5 Slim? Because I'm in the market to get me a PlayStation 5, because that's going
Oh.
to be my birthday present to myself, because I got too many new games that's coming out exclusively for PlayStation 5 that I must have. Now, I know what's probably going to happen. is that I'm going to end up buying that PlayStation 5, and the week after they're going to drop PlayStation 5 Slim, and I'm going to be pissed.
Now, I've had a lot of my middle school. I work with middle school kids in orchestra, and they've been trying to tell me to get a PS5. And I'm like, hey, I just learned about the Xbox. But but
Yeah.
I think that would be a lovely gift to yourself. That's the other thing. We need to give gift to ourselves.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Biggle
I
says I
usually like to
need.
give myself something every year. I able to give myself something for my birthday.
Aw, well,
So,
that's sweet. Biggles wants to find a DM who knows Goblin Slayer. Dmajini, you would love it.
oh,
Go.
a dungeon master who knows Goblin Slayer. Okay, Goblin
Yeah.
Slayer. I don't know if you ever watched that, Teresa. I don't know if you watched that before,
Nah.
but that is a anime that is not for the faint of heart. I'm just saying,
Oh,
it's really not.
yeah. Well, and as much as I'm into things like this, I will say I am still a girl, and there is some truth that you might find girls that might be into that, but the
Hmm.
majority will be men, and
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so it's like
The manga
sometimes
is way more brutal. I believe it. There's only so much you can get away with. Like
Mhm,
the mangas, you can get away with more stuff because it's essentially in book form. Which, by the
mhm,
way, unlike unlike what we're seeing in some of the public school system, these books are not for kids, and they stated as such.
mhm,
Whereas you see some of the things they're trying to put out in the public school system, where it's like they're putting these things in this, aimed towards kids.
yeah,
I'm going to say 95% of manga really isn't for kids. You'll
no,
have your 5% like your Dragon Balls, your Pokemons, your Sailor Moons, all that stuff like that. You'll find stuff in it that's really mainstream that people will watch. But for the most part, you're gonna like me. Listen, I'm a grown ass man. I like etchy stuff. Okay, etchy is fan
mhm,
service. None of that crazy stuff. Just fan service stuff. I don't mind that. Okay, I don't mind
uh-huh.
that at all.
No,
So
no, you're right, and well, I think we need to get back to that yeah, there is such a thing as adult entertainment. It's like, yeah, I mean, some of this manga stuff, yeah, you might see some of the more brutal stuff. Yeah, you're in high school and stuff. They're practically adults, anyways. But yeah, there's stuff that shouldn't be around kids. And I always like to warn people. You said public schools, but having been someone that's been in a lot of different private schools, they're trying to sneak them in there too. So you need to pay attention to what's going on, even
mm,
in your private school, even in your Christian schools, because people they're trying, it just depends. I'm just saying, don't get complacent because sometimes
yeah.
people think, oh, it'll be okay because I have my kid in a Christian school. It's like, well, probably, but always keep an eye on what's going on because people, they kind of got the public schools. Now they're trying to go for the other ones. It's a control of the culture right now, in my humble opinion. That a war, if you will. I think we're all a little weary. I'm a little weary of the culture war, but there is some truth to it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't have any kids of my own, but I have two goddaughters. Both of them are
Oh.
grown, and one is married and with a kid already. But I couldn't imagine like having kids right now and
Oh,
leaving them in public school. Like if
no.
if I was to have kids right now, which I probably wouldn't because I'm a little too old for that at this point. But if I was to do that, I would want my wife to stay home with the kids.
Mhm.
At least until we, you know, maybe have online classes or something like that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want them in the system because I could see where it is now. Like it's not like
Mhm.
sure they had their indoctrination when we were kids. I mean, you had to pledge your allegiance to the flag every day. You know what I'm saying? That's like you're. I mean, which is it's patriotism, which is not bad if it's just left at that. But when you start having like, you know, oh, Miss so and so is does so and so and so and so, and this is
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that stuff. No,
No.
I think that needs to stay out. Like when we were kids, we just knew our teacher's last name. We didn't even know their first name.
Yeah. Well, and I
You
can
know.
tell you because my last 5 6 years we're working in public schools, and I still work. with orchestras in public schools. I can tell people, if you can, you homeschool, because it's not just for the indoctrination, but also for the safety. It's not there's a lot of violence, and we all know the certain things that are happening that are on the rise right now because the genie was let out of the bottle, and
Yeah.
safety is definitely a concern. But yeah, I don't know what I would do. Well, I know what I would do. I'd move heaven and earth to homeschool my kids. And what you were saying about maybe things that they have online and all that, there are a, a lot of co-ops and things that have come, especially out of the pandemic situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were a lot of people that realized, hey, this actually worked out with our family. Let's keep it going. So there are resources out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jiraiya said the stuff they're releasing in schools aren't even entertainment as much as they are instructional booklets. That is true.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That is
Darn right.
true. And like I said, when you talk about the difference between like what I'm talking about, like with mangas and stuff that might be geared towards you know late teens and young adults, um, that is for entertainment purposes, and usually, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about any of the other stuff as far as the stuff that starts with the H. Okay, we're not
Mm-hmm.
talking about that stuff. We're talking about etchy and lower. That stuff usually won't have anything that's so graphic. You know what I'm saying? It won't be. Sure, you might have like a romance and stuff like that, but it'll never be anything crazy. Like for
Mm-hmm.
instance, I'll give you a perfect one. Believe it or not, it was called Farming Life in Another World. Believe it or not, as crazy as that title sounds, it was actually a really good anime. Now, in the anime, um, the lead protagonist, he marries one of the women in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she gets pregnant. They don't show it anything, nothing. Oh, she's pregnant, and that's how you should, if you're gonna. That's what I mean by they have a romance in it. Like they didn't even show them kiss or anything, but you knew
Yeah.
they were together, and then she had a kid. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, okay, stuff like that, harmless. I don't think that. I don't think that. That's not crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We don't
Um,
need the gory details.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? So that, and by the way, the anime is actually really good. I can't wait for season 2. But yeah, that's a prime example of a good one that where you can have a romance of sorts and it still be, you know, not crazy. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
No, I know exactly what you mean, and that's kind of the way it used to
Everything that
be.
is animated isn't for kids. I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
accidentally watching Dirty Duck. Dirty Duck back in the what's Dirty Duck?
I know.
Do I want to know? That
I
sounds dirty.
it was for the dirty duck. Well, allegedly it was a dirty duck. Yes. Um. Yeah, video store days. Yeah, where that was the other. You didn't know what you were gonna get all the time when you
Mhm.
went to the video store. That was crazy.
Yes,
Uh.
Chi Chi and Goku was a good point too.
Mhm.
Jason. Jason
Yeah,
said that.
upside down. Yeah, I'm trying.
Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Struck the.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure that out. I knew I knew it was Jason after seeing it a few
Part of me
times.
is like, let me turn my computer upside down. Oh,
I don't know
and
how you do that. What kind of app you use to do that? That's actually pretty cool.
it is, yeah. And Maury says the best, or pardon name, the best anime is Gotcha Man or Gotcha Man.
Gotcha, man.
I'm
Hmm.
not familiar. Yeah. Oh.
I'm right now watching Bleach. That's one of my Bleach is one of those uh mainstream animes or mangas slash animes that is along the lines of like it's a shonen, so that's along the lines with Dragon Ball and stuff like that. So it's while it is violence, it's not sexual. Like they do have some etchy in there, but the violence in there, like I won't recommend that for kids, but I think that's more like late teen, early adult
Mhm.
uh demographic. You know what I mean? I think that's what
Yeah.
that's for. So but that's what actually Bleach is pretty dope. I'm waiting for them to put up the next Dragon Ball, even though I wasn't super happy with Super. I think
Hmm.
Super was a bad replacement for GT because of the fact that where they put it in the timeline, And I know this might not be everybody might not know this, but I've said it before. But I'll give you a little rundown. So what they did is Dragon Ball, and then Dragon Ball Z, and then Dragon Ball GT. Those are the three mainline stories that existed before Super came around. GT was not done by Toriyama. That was done by somebody else. So that's why a lot of people really didn't like it. Although I will say the concepts that they had in it, like Super Saiyan 4, I love that concept. I just hated the fact that they made Goku little and they didn't focus on the rest of the Z fighters. So fast forward, and I do believe what it was that really ticked off Toriyama was the fact that I'm going to say this with extreme contempt, but Dragon Ball Evolution was one of the worst anime adaptations I've seen done live in a live action movie. Don't ever watch that. It is terrible. It is absolutely terrible. And once that came out, Toriyama was like, you know what? I'm coming out of retirement. And I gotta show them how it's done. So he
Nice.
came out, and then we had Super come out. Now Super, what I don't like about Super is the fact of where they placed it. Instead of just taking GT, which I don't understand why he didn't do that, taking GT and say, okay, this is no longer. They could have did the Star Wars thing, like how Disney came and just said, oh, there's no more EU, which that was stupid of them.
Yeah.
But he could at least said, hey, I'm going to supplement GT with Super and start this after Z. No, he put Super during Z. So the episodes that they're seeing in Dragon Ball Super all are taking place in between the Majin Buu fight and the very last episode of Dragon Ball Z. So, with that being said, what does that mean? That means that there are no stakes because everybody has to be in that last shot of the last tournament because that's how they ended Z. So everything that's happening in Super is really irrelevant because everybody has to end up at the end of Z at that tournament. That's why I hated it because there's no stakes at all. Like we know with most anime and manga, your main protagonist is gonna have plot armor. They either have a way to not have him there, like in Goku's case, he got killed a couple times, or he was training somewhere. You'll find a way to make sure your main protagonist, who is usually overpowered, you find a way for him not to be there, which is
Hmm.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
So you know that you're gonna have that aspect that okay, that part of the show has no stakes because your main character is gonna beat them all. We know that, right?
Yeah.
However, it's a whole other thing when you know everybody's going to be fine because everybody's
Yeah.
going to be fine. That's why I
That's
hate
true.
that. Everybody, because it had Goku has to be there, Vegeta has to be there, Trunks and Goten has to be there, Bra. That's right, I said Bra because that's her real name. Bra has to be there because if you didn't know, Vegeta's children are both named after undergarments, Trunks and Bra, and Bulma is actually undergarment too, if I'm correct. I forget what Bulma means, but this all their names mean. And matter of fact, her father's name is Professor Brief. That's the pun. Dragon Ball
That's
is
nice.
all puns. It's all puns. Like all of the same names are vegetables. Vegeta literally means vegetable. Kakarot, carrots. Okay, so I mean, it's all puns in there. So we all know everybody's supposed to be at the end of that tournament. So this is what makes Super so bad for me. Now they could, and the other thing I have a problem with is the fact that they put like in Super, Goku is now being trained by angels and gods. Like not even like he always been getting trained. Like the Kais are all technically gods or they're overseers of the universe. But now he's getting trained by the higher ups. Like, bro, who are you gonna fight now? If you're getting trained by like the omnipotent people, who are you gonna fight? There's gonna be a challenge to you.
Yeah, there's nobody. Well,
That's what I don't like. It is at least in GT, they put even though I didn't like the first part of GT, the secondary part when they got to Baby, Baby was a fantastic, even though they executed it slightly poorly, and I really didn't like the way they made Goku small. But at least they had somebody who tied back into the Saiyan past. They brought Baby back. Baby is a truffle who the Saiyans eliminated in the past, and he had a grudge, and he basically made himself into a parasite.
Mhm.
That's a good villain to have. And he was somebody strong enough to take over a Saiyan body and use that body, right? Yeah, Super Saiyan 4 was great. I love the design. So what this is me. I've said this before, I'll say it for you. I would have stopped, I would have said, if I was designing Super right now, I would have said Super Saiyan 4 would have been the next transformation. Then I would have said, I would have stopped at Super Saiyan 5. The next transformation would be Super Saiyan 5, and then I would stop. Then, then I would go into the God key stuff. That's what I would have done. Because now you went from Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan God. Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. Ultra Instinct. Like, it's you stopping at Super Saiyan 3? Like, I don't know. I would have stopped at 5. I would have gave it a nice uh rounded off number. 5 would be the maximum Super Saiyan, and then start talking about God powers. You know, this way you give a little more buffer in between who Goku can fight, because of course the show is about who Goku's gonna fight. That's basically what the show ends up being.
Yeah. Well, I'm trusting you because I have no idea. I've never seen it, but the chat knows. He's saying Jason upside down is saying JT just isn't canon anymore, but in the manga it's referenced a bunch.
Oh, I didn't know about in the manga.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know it's not canon, but that's what I'm saying. So will they eventually give us a Super Saiyan 4 and kind of alter it? I don't know. I mean, like I would like for there to be a number system and then go into the God system. Like I said, that's what they should have done, because it's not like the concept is. By the way, this is a little deep cut for you, Teresa, because I know you probably don't know about this because you just said you didn't. But the person who's doing Super now is a student of Toriyama. And the way he became a student is because I think his name is Toyotoro, if I'm correct. I might be incorrect. I'm not 100% sure. You got to check out my man, Geekdom 101. He knows all about that. But he did a fan series called Dragon Ball AF. And he did it so well that Toriyama hired him. Okay? So in his designs, in his story, he actually put in something that tied back to the original story, and that's what I liked about Dragon Ball in general, right? Because even if you go back to Dragon Ball, the main villain is King Piccolo. King Piccolo goes back to Master Roshi. Well, Master I'm drawing a blank on his name, but Master Roshi's master, right? That's who he fought, which ends up going to Goku. Then Goku defeated the Red Ribbon Army, that becoming Cell, and his family coming back. That was his brother Raditz. So everything kind of led up to something, right? It had a foundation and started to something else. So with his fan film, he made it about Goku's it was like a son of his, but it wasn't really. It was technically his kid, but it really wasn't his kid. Like he didn't cheat on his wife or anything, but they kind of got it from like his DNA from like when he was sleeping or something like that. So I think his name was Zykor was the guy, and in that version, Goku goes Super Saiyan 5. So that's what I'm saying. The guy who's doing Super right now was one of the people who was doing Super Saiyan. I know Super Saiyan 5 is really a fan made transformation, but it still made sense because a lot of people was going towards, hey, the next progression's got to be 5. And then they stopped at 5. No, it's, like they have all other kinds of stuff, but really 5 was the last real, like, I'll say, like, the last real fan made thing that almost the whole fandom agreed on, per
Mm.
se. Not, it wasn't like an actual thing, but everybody agreed there should have been a Super Saiyan 5, right? So that's why I said 5 should have been a thing.
Oh.
Big
Okay,
said
well,
the
you
manga
heard
is
it.
like, what the F now?
Yeah. Okay, well, we are just now at the 1 hour mark, and this is the time where I say to the guest before we go into the roll 7, the pub game part of this, is there anything else that you would like to say, maybe that you haven't had an opportunity to, or another thing you'd like to bring up before we move into roll 7?
Nope, I think I confused you enough for tonight.
Well, no, I am completely positive that if people know what you're talking about, it was amazing. And I to be fair, I want to look this up. And thank you, Soul Assassin. He spelled it out for me. So it's a thing, and sounds like a lot of the chat's into it as well. But loads of cool things we've talked about. All the different movies and the anime and all of that. So we will have an outro in a little bit, but just as a reminder, please, if you like what you heard, or maybe even if you didn't like what you heard, go and sub to Dmajini and learn more about all of this. And he has a lot of fun stuff that we know.
I know my icon has Star Wars on it, but I'm not really a Star Wars channel. I just like the OG Star Wars. Yeah. I did talk more Star Wars back in the day, but now I really just don't care.
Yeah, I think we're all there right now. It's like, whatever. I've just reset my brain.
I will forever have a eternal love for what George Lucas did with 1 through 6 in the EU. Mm-hmm. But this new crap,
nope.
I'm good. I'm perfectly good.
Yeah, I've wiped it out. I've been brainwashed. I've had my brain wiped, and it just is just EU, and as you said, the first 6 movies.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if you want to know anything about the actual Skywalker legacy, and I think the last powerful noted Skywalker is Cade Skywalker, and that's it.
Oh, Cade, I love him. Yeah, Cade, and of course, there's still that story, Jaina. Yeah, we were gonna get some more Jaina stuff.
Oh, I love Jaina.
Yeah, I love Jaina. Jaina Solo is amazing.
But Jaina is before Cade though, so she's.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
she's his I guess ancestor technically.
Grandmother, I think, or great grandmother.
No, that would still be his cousin.
Oh, his cousin. Oh, gee whiz.
Jaina would be his great cousin technically.
Yeah.
Even though in that series, the failed empire is what gets taken over by Darth Krayt.
Yeah.
So that's technically the ancestors of his cousins. So
yeah. Okay, yeah, because I forget how it all fit together. But yeah, because she married. Oh, I love all. Oh gosh, so I need to reread some of that.
Eventually. Cancer now. Yeah, you're not lying.
Yeah. Yeah, I've packed it all up too. The only ones I've kept is my signed books that I still have on display. I'll come back to it in a little bit, but I think right now just leaves such a bad taste in the mouth.
Yeah, I mean my books are right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm wait. I got to order my. Which, by the way, I got my ISOM 2 today, which I just finished reading, which is pretty awesome. But I got to get my ISOM short box. Excuse me. So I can pack my comics a little bit better than that, and I can put my books in better order. Like everything to the left is all Star Wars, and then the right is all comics. So I'm a terrible collector. I know I should keep them in better condition, but they are wrapped in plastic. That I will say.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I always get in trouble because I don't have my books in order, and I get scolded. And oh yes, Stieg is right. Yeah, go get the new Conan comic too, Jemima. Seriously, it was great. Yes, there's a new series of Conan done by Titan Comics. It is amazing. It is amazing, and I think you'll enjoy it if you like Conan. All right, well, let's go into roll 7 and.
All right, what are we gonna do here? I'm scared now.
It's not that scary. It's not as scary as it seems. Where the heck is Oh wait, that's my D&D stuff. That won't do us any good. Where the hell did it go? Because I had it. Because I was showing it to you backstage. But the good news is, oh, excuse me. The good news is I always do have a backup. So let me bring that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and roll, and we'll see. Uh, we'll see what comes up. All right. Okay. Um, Dagnabbit. Maybe I'm sitting on it. I've done that before. Um, so you rolled a 12. Let's see what 12 is. It is. Oh, and I always encourage people in the chat to please also participate if you would like to. What is the worst piece of advice you've ever been given?
The worst piece of advice that I've ever given?
That you've ever been given?
Oh, that I've ever been given.
Yeah.
Huh. That's a good one. Let me think about that one.
Mhm.
Okay. I just thought of one. It's when I was real young.
Mhm.
And one of my good friends, so like I said, I grew up in Brooklyn, and he was probably like a year or two older than me. And his mother was she was very liberal with him as far as letting him do what he wants.
Uh-huh.
So he was able to like walk the streets of Brooklyn by himself for the most part.
Ooh.
So he was like, "Hey, come on, it's okay. Let's go for this walk."
Uh-oh.
Needless to say, my mom was not happy. I mean, we walked to my house, but
Mhm.
let me see. How can I give you a distance of that? That would be one, two. That would be 5 New York City blocks that I walked by myself. That was the first time I ever did that too. And I was like, it wasn't like I didn't know where I was going. I knew my neighborhood, but it was just the fact that was the first time I did that without my mom, and like she was pissed at me. So yeah, I
Oh.
think that was the worst. Like he's like, "Come on, it'll be fine. Just come on, it's great." So
Yeah.
I'm like, but the crazy thing about it was she did. I didn't get in trouble. Like I thought I was going to get a
Oh.
beating or something, but I didn't.
Oh, well,
She
there.
was
Well,
like,
there you go. Yeah, because like I said, I can tell you this.
I just got a stern talking to. But you know
Yeah.
what's funny? After that, like my mom was a little more liberal with me going like walking around by myself. Then
Oh. Well, that's hey. Well, that's tempting fate, though.
yeah.
Anyone that knows,
Well, we're talking back in the '80s, so it wasn't as bad as it is now.
that's true. Yeah.
Everybody did stuff. The rule that was back in the '80s. You had to be back when the lights went on. You know, once the street lights came on, you had to be home. That was really the deal.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Number two, second roll, or the second roll. It is, what fictional character do you wish were real?
What fictional character I wish was real? Oh boy, you just opened a can of worms with that one.
You can only choose one.
I know. That's why I got to think of a good one.
Uh-huh.
I want I want to think of something fun for the chat. I want to think of something fun,
Okay.
just because it'd be fun for the chat. And I want to say this young lady right here, Tifa. I want Tifa to be real because she has a cool Final Fantasy, cool. I can't even talk right. A cool limit break where she runs around the world and gives you my final heaven punch.
Uh-huh.
That's a good move. And she'd be pretty hot in real life too. So
Uh,
yeah, that's that.
well, there you go. Yeah, my choice is always Mr. Darcy. So for the not for the hot part. Biggle says Kaiba. I hope I'm saying that right. I want to be able to buy
Kaiba,
a
I
blue.
want to buy Blue Eyes
A,
and White Dragon Jet.
mm,
See
mm.
that one I don't even know. You gotta school your boy in that one. That's a deep cut right there. I'll probably know it if I seen it, but I'm not. You know, just a side note, Teresa. I watch so much anime now that I lose track of who I'm watching and what. Sometimes I just because that's what I go to like for fun. Like I just watch anime.
Uh-huh.
So I watch so much of it. It's crazy. She has a cool finisher. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. See, Jason, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, from Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay, I know. Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Darius is not picking teeth,
not
of
picking
course.
teeth for her bartending skills.
No.
I'm I'm picking her for her uppercuts. Yeah, that's it.
For her,
Uppercuts and jiggle physics. How about
there
that?
you go. For her marvelous personality. Hi, Charlie. All right, roll number 3. All right. What would you do if you were the only human on Earth?
If I was the only human on Earth,
Mm-hmm. Just you.
wow, just me. Wow. Hmm. That's actually I would literally try to find a mate somewhere. Go to a cloning factory and clone and find a hair from somebody because if I'm the only person on Earth, that means the human race dies with me. I got to try to save the world, save the humans.
Oh, there you go. Repopulate.
Yeah.
Hey,
It'd
it's
kind of be like what's that anime? Y'all know what it is in the chat. What is it called? Oh my god. It's right on the tip of my tongue. It's like that stupid show, the Y show that came out. It was a bad version of that. Damn it!
yeah.
Hold on, I gotta find out the name of it. You
Yeah,
know,
Chad, help him out. Everyone Google. I'm thinking of like on Battlestar Galactica when they were like, we need to have lots and lots of babies. Spread the seed, everyone. Uh, okay, I don't know, so Spiggles. Well, thank you for that. Yeah.
oh, that's not it. What is it?
Yeah. You'd have to find a cloning factory though to
Yeah,
clone
I know.
someone.
I gotta find it. What is the name of it? It's not that. Damn it!
So,
It's right. I can see the anime in my head, and I just can't remember the damn name of it.
you know you're gonna think about it the second the stream's over.
I
It's
know
gonna
that's gonna really annoy me too.
All right. Well, we could maybe it'll pop into your head. Let's go ahead and
You can
go.
ask me the next question. Ask me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
roll
look it up.
4. Roll 4 is whoops. Let's see. I think we already did that one. Oh, yep, we did. Go get a lottery ticket. What's your favorite excuse when you are late?
My favorite excuse when I was late.
Yeah, like what do you say when you're late? Your favorite excuse.
Hmm. When I'm late. I really don't have it. I overslept. It's not really an excuse. It's the truth.
Oh. Well, there you go. When in hey, you never get in trouble. Well, mostly you never get in trouble for telling the truth. Oh, for crying out loud, Biggles, that is too much information. That's your excuse. I thought you meant like right now. I was pooping, that's why I'm late. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Oh boy. All right, let's roll 5 here. Oh my gosh. The 5th roll. And what's your favorite movie and why? You can only choose one.
Empire Strikes Back because that was my very first Star Wars and it has a very special place in my heart.
Oh, no, that's a great movie. Yeah, I love Empire Strikes
Well,
Back.
that's the first one I was like an infant when A New Hope came out, or should I say Star Wars came out.
Mhm.
But by the time Empire Strikes Back came out, I was 4, so I knew everything about it. I remember all the fanfare. I remember all of the Burger King, like the
Mhm.
glasses you can get, all that stuff like that. I remember all that. That was great.
Yeah, I remember loving the poster of it, the one with Luke on the tauntaun and Han like kind of like dipping Leia down in that Rhett
Yes.
Butler kind of pose. Yeah. Oh, good stuff. Yeah, that was one of the first movies that really made an impression on me in the cinema. You know, I was 6 when it came out. All right. Speaking of 6, roll 6 is I think what's the most immature thing that you do? Like you still do this.
What is it? What? Say it again.
The most immature thing that you do.
Oh
I
my
know.
god! What's the most immature thing that I do? I still talk about Star Wars to random people, like just randomly. Like I'll just say like, random quotes to people in old
Mhm.
school Star Wars, of course. But
Mhm.
I could be working and just say just throw a line out from Palpatine or something like that. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, it's a bad habit. I know I shouldn't do it, but I do
Oh, oh no, I do that even with Palpatine. It's like, "You want this, don't you?" You know, because when you say in the
it.
Return of the Jedi. All right, and last but certainly not least, what is rolled? It is if you could remove one invention from the world, what would it be and why?
One invention from the world.
Yeah, just wipe it out. It never existed.
Hmm. Hmm. There's a bunch of them that I really would like to get rid of, but I got to think of one that would
Mhm.
benefit everybody.
Yep, your one chance to do something. Take one for the team.
Hmm. Well, it's gonna be a blanket statement, but
Okay.
I'm just gonna say any weapon of mass destruction.
Mm. Yeah, a lot of people said that, like the H bomb, the atom bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cell
That
phone.
includes like bioweapons too. So
Mhm.
anything that can kill a lot of people at once, I will like it to go away.
Yeah. Biggles, that's the one about what remove what I mentioned. Jason says cell phones, corn syrup. Well, actually, corn syrup's really bad for your teeth. Yes, it is.
High fructose corn syrup.
Mhm. Though it is good, like when Christmas and Thanksgiving comes around for a lot of the recipes. Yeah, Biggles had said the Communist Manifesto, and
Mm.
communism. Some people have said the internet.
Nah, 'cause without the internet, we wouldn't have met lovely people like yourself.
Oh,
So that's what it's called. World's in harem. I found it.
yay! We did it. We did it before the stream ended.
That's what it'd be like. It'd be like world's in harem. So it's the end of the world. You have the whole harem.
Uh, hey, well, you can have your harem of ladies, I'm assuming, and actually, that's technically the definition of a harem, isn't it?
What's that
Um,
now?
a harem, a bunch of ladies, at your.
Oh yeah, well that's yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a such thing as for men, but if I did, it would be housed with all the Jane Austen heroes, all the Faramir, Aragorn, all the hot Sean Bean, all of those good things. Well, that's great. Well, I'm really glad that you thought about it. All right, well, that ends our roll 7, and we're gonna be closing up this stop on our pub crawl. Dmajini, where can we find you?
You can find me on my channel, DMAJINI. I have my live streams on Saturdays, gaming on Sundays. The Dark Council is every other Wednesday on Fatal J's channel. Sometimes it gets placed in other places in case, just for other people to hang out. And like I said, for my members, I do the hyperspace hangout, which is basically I just take the bike out and I just go to a random place, stop, and I do a live stream wherever I'm at. And the hyperspace runs. Those are for members also. That's when I basically just because the thing, the catch 22 to what I really would like to do is live stream while I'm riding, but I don't have the equipment or the tech to do that right now. So I
Ah,
kind of have to split it. So
sure.
I'll have like the recorded versions of me riding around, and then I'll have the when I stop, and I'll just have a live stream like that. But yeah, that's what I have going on. Anything else? Oh yes, like I said, this Saturday I'll be with the full Aussie with my fellows from down under. I'll be hanging out with them this Saturday morning for on the U.S. side. I guess it's evening for them, so it'll be. I think it's gonna be
It's usually, I think
10
it's about
o'clock, 10 a.m.
10 Eastern
U.S.
and 9 Central is usually when it comes on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
yeah,
you want to come check that out? And I don't know what they have in store for me, but we'll find out. it's usually it's usually a fun bag when I hang out with those guys.
Yeah, we love the Australians. Give them 2 thumbs up. Well, and you said you had well, I don't know if you already mentioned it, your video that's coming out tomorrow about the
Yes,
Big
yes. It's
Garland.
a short. It's not a full video, but it's a
Mhm,
short. I think I did. Um, I, I think I might actually do a video. I might talk about it more in depth on my live stream.
mhm,
Usually stuff like that, like I usually keep the shorts or live streams just because of Uncle YouTube now because it's not Mama Susan anymore.
mhm.
I call it Uncle Neil.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, I try to keep the heavy hitting stuff either shorts or live streams. This way I can still get my message out and kind of stay underneath the radar because YouTube is it's a war of attrition. Everybody
Mhm.
knows that. It really is. If whatever reason, I got more views when I was unmonetized, which is crazy. But it
That
is what it is.
yeah. And I know what you mean about, staying under the radar, because the only thing worse than not being noticed is being noticed.
Yeah.
From the oh, yeah, nuclear weapons, Puddin' was saying there. Well, that's great, and of course, you can find me here on Miss Smart Muses, where I talk about what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Next Tuesday, we're going to be continuing with night 2 of Pub Crawl with Arwen Avalon. She will be here with a topic to be determined. Also, We the People Wednesday is tomorrow. We're going to continue studying Article 1 of the Constitution, and the first one's already up there if you want to follow along with me. Um, some random musings will be happening, and more about my thoughts on the Wheel of Time, which I am reading for the first time. So,
Mm.
thank you for everyone here. Please subscribe to people in chat. Of course, subscribe to Dmajini and follow him. We do have have the links in the description, as well as I know that some of the mods have been putting it up there. So thank you once again, Dmajini. It has been a pleasure. It is so awesome to hang out with you, and
It's been fantastic hanging out with you.
yay, I love it. So thank you for being here and being a guest and the host, or not the host with the most, the guest with the most. So have a great day, everyone. Have a great day, and be certain to wear your helmet when you ride your motorcycle and watch good anime.